Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to another Fallout 4 mod review. And today is a very special day because a long-awaited weapon mod is finally here, and that is the Valve Handgun by Max Bear. This is going to add a new lore-friendly makeshift handgun into the game that's very, very cool. Now, before we begin, I do want to say that this is part of a much larger project known as Triple W, the Wasteland-wide warehouse project, which is intending to add a ton of new weapons into the game. And there is a brief overview on the mod page of what will be included in that pack, and this is only the first weapon of that series. Now, essentially, this mod is the entire pack, but currently there is only the Valve handgun in it. But it will be updated over time with more and more weapons, and given the previews on the mod page and the quality of this mod as it is, we have a lot to be excited for, so that is super cool. Now then, for the mod at hand, the Valve handgun, this thing is super neat. This is going to be a single-shot 308 handgun that functions as sort of a pocket sniper. You only get one shot before you have to reload, but it packs a huge punch, so you really have to make your shots count. However, you can get a lot of damage out of this thing, so it's a pretty high-risk, high-reward sort of situation. This weapon does of course come with beautiful custom animations, and as far as leveled lists go, you can find this thing out in the world pretty much anywhere that you might find a vanilla hunting rifle. I think that's most of the basic details. Let's go ahead and take this thing in-game, check out its stats, animations, and some other really cool features that make this such a special little weapon. Here we have what is essentially the most basic iteration of the Valve handgun with no attachments and no perks. This thing is going to have a base damage of 66. Hey, it's me from the future here. That's all wrong. Turns out, I had Gunslinger maxed out when I was filming this and was unaware until I started editing. So, oops. But, replace that 66 with the 33 and have all of the damages in the weapons workbench when we talk about it later, because I didn't realize it there either until around the damage testing time. So, big goof on my part, so just pretend that everything's, correct. Alright, cool. Now then, for fire rate, we have 7, because again, this is a single shot weapon. Every time you shoot, you are going to have to load a new round into the chamber. We also have a range of 89, an accuracy of 68, a weight of only 3.7 pounds, and a value of 45 caps. And I have to say, I just love the profile of this weapon. This is exactly what I was expecting when I thought of a pipe gun for vanilla Fallout 4, but instead we got the orange abominations that we all know and, well, love, quote unquote. But this is a true work of art, and it gets even cooler with the attachments over at the weapons workbench. But first, we're going to have to take a look at the animations for this thing. First of all, it has a full suite of custom animations, not just firing and reloading, but every little bit of the weapon, including some really cool equipping animations where you check to make sure there is a round in the chamber. And then, of course, we're going to fire this thing, reload it, and then we're good to fire it again. My only complaint, and if I have any, is that the firing sound is a bit low compared to the rest of the sounds, and I'm not sure if that was intended or not, but my guess is not. It's very, very quiet. If you listen again, compared to the rest of it, it's very subtle. But we do have a suppressed version of the weapon as well, which, if we grab that right now, does have its own custom sounds as well that are actually louder than the base version of the 308. So this thing should be tuned up just a bit, but that's all right. Now then, talking about accuracy, let's go ahead and see how this thing does at some different ranges. This thing, again, is like a pocket sniper, so you should be able to land just about everything you aim for. So that was the closest target there. Trying for something a little bit further, and of course we drop it. And let's try something a bit further away. This will definitely be the hardest shot, but we still got it, even with a short-range red dot like we have on this pistol here. So yeah, definitely a functional weapon when it comes to actually landing your shots. And while landing shots is important, let's talk about ways that you can improve the damage on this weapon over at the weapons workbench. Starting off with the receiver section, we actually don't upgrade damage here. Instead, we have a bunch of unique receivers that have different effects. We will improve the damage elsewhere with other attachments. Starting off, we have the standard receiver, which is just standard. We have a harmonic receiver, which will give you better VATS cost and recoil recovery. We have calibrated receiver for better critical shot damage. A light receiver will actually reduce the damage from 66 to 44 and rechamber the weapon from 308 to 762. And then we also have the tuned receiver, which will give you an improved rate of fire. While this isn't a straight increase to damage, this is definitely my preferred receiver. Since it is a single shot weapon, I want to improve the rate of fire as much as possible. Now then, for barrels, we have the standard pipe barrel. We also have a threaded barrel, a long barrel, and a sentry barrel. All of these are going to increase the range, and these two longer barrels will even increase the damage just a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and throw on the threaded barrel because this will actually open up a new attachment section for muzzle devices. For grips, we have the standard pistol grip here, the heavy stock, the light grip, the marksman stock, and the target grip. I really like the designs of all of these using improvised parts like this one here made out of a bunch of pipe is really cool. For sights, we have the standard old iron sights. We also have adjustable iron sights right there that can be a little bit nicer and will improve your range and accuracy just a bit. And then we also have a dovetail rail. If we go ahead and throw that on, we'll open up yet another category where we can mount some different scopes to this thing. Now then, because we have that other barrel on, we can check out some of the muzzle devices, including, of course, the option for no muzzle, a 30 caliber flash hider, a 30 caliber compensator, and a 30 caliber suppressor, which is really cool. You can see it's totally handmade and even has parts of a 40 millimeter shell right here, which is pretty interesting. For optics, we of course have the option for no optic, a red dot reflex sight, which looks really neat, the low magnification scope, which is also a red dot, but it does have a more narrow field of view, allowing you to zoom in a little bit more. And then we also have an improvised scope made out of a bunch of junk parts and what seems to be the parts of maybe a binocular here. Pretty cool. We then have a section full of damage modifiers, but first I want to check out the ammo section, as this is the more lore-friendly way to approach increasing the damage for this thing. So for starters, you have the 308 corroded ammo, meaning you're putting in some garbage bullets into this thing, but you can increase the damage by trying out something like full metal jacket, soft point ammunition, overpressured ammunition, tracer ammunition, match grade ammo, and armor piercing ammo, which all have their own unique effects and damage increases, with the highest damage you're going to get out of this with the overpressured ammunition. Just going to be a raw damage increase up to 128 from 66. Now, we also have that damage modifier section. This is purely intended for balance and doesn't require anything to increase these, so don't use them to cheat. It's more intended to actually balance it in your game in case you're running separate damage modifiers, but I suppose you can do as you wish. Alright, and now then it is time for the actual damage test, which again does have the correct damages this time. Sorry guys. We'll be running 4 tests today to test out the varying degrees of damage this weapon can put out, starting with a basic version of the weapon with no attachments and no perks, just to see how it does when you first pick it up. And then we'll be using a fully upgraded version of the weapon using only attachments available at the weapon's workbench to see how you can actually pump up the damage with this thing with only parts. Then we'll be taking that same version against this third Deathclaw here with maxed out Gunslinger perk to see how this thing would perform in the late game using a character who has every single asset available to them. And then we'll be doing one more just for funsies, which will be another fully upgraded version with maxed out perks and the 200% modifier over at the weapon's workbench just to see what this thing is truly capable of. Now then, starting with the basic version of the weapon with no attachments, no perks, aiming for the Deathclaw's weak point. Since this thing is only single shot, this is gonna be rough. As you can see there, doing almost no damage and needing to reload after every shot. We would be here for a very long time. It's safe to say that this is not your Deathclaw hunting weapon, and rather than wasting your guys' time, let's move on to the next one. This one is fully upgraded with no perks. Let's see what it can do when it actually has some damage behind it. And that's not atrocious, nor is it great. When it comes to fighting Deathclaws, this kind of damage output just isn't gonna cut it. We're already 3 shots in, now 4, and we're only halfway through the Deathclaw's health. That would only take 8 shots to put it down, but given the fire rate, that is just not good enough. So, what if we actually upgraded the damage with perks? Well, ideally, those same 4 shots should now put down this Deathclaw here, so let's see if that's true. 1 shot and we're already 33% of the way through the Deathclaw's health. 2 shots makes us about 2/3, and let's see if we can do it with just one more. Almost. Sadly, he has just a bit left. Let's go ahead and give him a toe shot. And the Deathclaw is down in 4 shots, which is, to be fair, what we predicted there. But I think we can do better than that. Now we have a fully upgraded version, maxed out perks with that 200% modifier, which, to be honest, normally I'm not really pro modifier, but in the case of this weapon, we might need it because this thing does have such a slow fire rate. Now then, aiming for the Deathclaw's weak point, let's see how it does. And as I kind of expected, it's that weapon with 200% more damage. It drops the Deathclaw in 1 shot. So this thing does have the potential to be a pretty high-powered weapon, but as you can see from this Deathclaw over here, it also has the potential to not. So it really just depends on how you want to modify this thing. I actually do think the damage modifiers might be worth it to help balance it in your game, but everybody's load order is different. Regardless of the damage output, this is a truly amazing weapon, and with some minor tweaks, I think it would fit in just about anybody's game. The model and texture work is absolutely incredible, and so are the animations. This is a truly wonderful weapon, and with what the author has planned to add even more weapons into the game, I'm very, very excited for the future of Fallout 4 modding. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you want to try this mod out. If you do, it'll be linked down in the description below. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a rating. Consider subscribing if you haven't already for more videos just like this, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Big shout out to all of my patrons for supporting every single video. And of course, a very special thank you to Astro, Captain Chaos, Helljumper 2077, Indecisive Wolf, Jackie Noid, Moonlit Gamer, Feed, and Youth RC for signing up for that Tier 3 Patreon membership. If you want to check out Patreon, it'll be linked down in the description below, but it is completely optional. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace!